One of the things about coming back was that one of the problems about all it was that you guys, for how many years did you not talk for?
Yeah, quite a bit.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
No, and I don't mean to trivialise it, because it's an awful thing. You know, you really liked each other, you loved working together, and then what was it? Was it one bust-up, or was it a dribbling apart?
Well, it was just over a film that was a misunderstanding and a mishandling of. It was just over a film that I.
This was The Beach.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it did. It's a big regret of mine that it went on for so very long. It's a shame we didn't work together all those years. Yeah. Not because of any particular film, and it didn't really matter about The Beach. It was never about The Beach. It was about our friendship and how much I felt like Danny's. I was in the first three movies, you know, Shallow Grave, Trainspotting, and then A Life Less Ordinary, and then I wasn't in the fourth, and I was a bit. It made me a bit rudderless. I didn't quite get it, and yeah, we didn't speak for a long time, which was such a waste.
Because so it began with a lunch. Is the lunch when you told him he wasn't going to be in The Beach?
Yeah, and I think I handled it very, very badly, and I've apologised to you, and I kind of feel a shame about it. That's very difficult to, you know. It's one of the things weirdly that the film's is about trying to express emotions, and I felt a great shame about it. Really, I was not proud of the way I handled it, and he actually handled it with enormous grace, because, you know, you see these actors and they do big things and you hear these stories about them, and he handles all his world with enormous grace and courage, actually, which is the definition of grace. They say courage is grace under pressure, which he showed enormously. So, and we had this thing, we had this film, this Slumdog Millionaire, which was doing amazing, picking up all these amazing things, and somebody asked him, he didn't tell me, somebody asked him whether he'd present this kind of promotional award to me, which is one of the things you do on the route to the Oscars and stuff like that. And he did, and he stood up on stage and he made this amazing speech. And I was like in tears backstage. It was like, oh, God. So, yeah, wow. I'm very grateful to him.
Mm. And when this happens in my life, friends of mine, if this happens, I always really unsuccessfully try to interfere and broker a peace. Did any of you try to get involved? Or did you just go, whoa, I'm leaving that alone?
We had our own feuds going on.
No one spoke to you in 15 years.
Yeah.
I was really upset about it, so upset I actually did The Beach with Danny.
Hashtag Team Danny. But very quickly, because I was reading, because they were coming on, I was reading about this.
Danny's actor now.
And I was reading about this, and there's a story that I don't know who told the story or how it ended up in the papers. It's a story, and I'm reading the story, and I'm thinking, this is obviously the lovely moment when they buried the hatchet and came together. Talk us through the flight back from, was it Shanghai?
Oh, dear.
Yes. Was it a 15-hour flight?
So I'm in the plane to Shanghai to promote a movie, and someone says, you know who the head of the jury is? And I went, no. And I went, Danny Boyle. Thinking I'd be delighted. And I was like, oh, my God. What are you going to say? And we bumped into each other, like, at things, and it was a bit awkward. And anyway, then we come back home. Because we're all showbiz celebrities, we were flying first class.
Of course.
And it was only three of us in first class. Danny, me, and my wife, Ev. And we're flying back, and we're scattered around. And then Ev falls asleep and her light goes off, and I'm sitting there. And Danny's light's on, and my light's on, and I'm thinking, this is it. This is the moment. And I'm slightly behind, so I can see Danny. I'm thinking, this is it. This is when we just get it all out, and I'll say I'm sorry, and he'll say I'm sorry, and we'll get on with it. And we couldn't. We just sat there with our lights burning. So eventually, Danny's went off.
But you're back together now. It's all good now. It's all good now. Very good. OK. Graham Norton here. If you'd like to see even more stuff like that, then hit subscribe. Or don't. It's a free world. But I know what I'd do in that situation.